We're going to tackle a question that's so fundamental we almost never even think to ask it. Why does the stuff in our wallets, these pieces of paper, these digital numbers, why do they actually have any value at all? We're going to unpack that by diving into a really cool paper by economists Nobuhiro Kiyotaki and Randall Wright that gets right to the heart of this everyday mystery. All right, let's just jump right in with a question that sounds super simple, but it's not. You work hard, you make something valuable, could be a great meal, a piece of code, whatever, and you happily trade it for pieces of paper that you can't eat or wear or really do anything with. So why? Why do we do that? And this isn't some new puzzle. Way back in 1892, an economist named Carl Menger was already pointing out just how weird this whole thing is. He called the fact that we all accept money downright mysterious. So let's see if we can unravel this mystery together. To really appreciate what money actually does for us, we've got to imagine a world without it first. A world of pure barter, where the only way to get something you want is to trade something you have for it directly. So the Kiyotaki-Wright paper builds this really elegant, simple model to let us explore this. Let's picture a tiny little economy. You've got just 3 people, a baker who makes bread, a tailor who makes clothes, and, you guessed it, a candlestick maker. Now, in this world, there are just a few simple rules. Everyone's a specialist, everyone wants something specific that they don't make themselves, and if you want to get what you want, you have to trade. Seems straightforward, right? Well, this setup leads to a massive problem, almost immediately. And that problem has a fancy name, the double coincidence of wants. It's the big central roadblock in any barter economy. It just means that for a trade to work, I have to find someone who has the thing I want, and at the same time, that person has to want the thing that I have. And this example just perfectly illustrates the deadlock. So look at our baker. She's got bread, and she wants candlesticks. She finds the tailor, who is dying for some of her bread. Awesome, right? A perfect match? Nope. Wrong. The tailor has clothes, not the candlesticks the baker wants. So no trade. They're both just stuck. So how do you break an impasse like that? Well, the solution comes from introducing a new and, let's be honest, a very strange object into our little economy. Let's just imagine a special kind of shell suddenly appears. The paper calls this fiat money, and it's intrinsically useless. You can't eat it, you can't wear it, you can't build anything with it. Its only possible use is for trading. Now just watch what happens with this useless little shell in the mix. The tailor gives the baker the shell in exchange for her bread. Then the baker takes that very same shell over to the candlestick maker and gets the candlestick she wanted all along. It's like magic. Money just turned one impossible trade into 2 really simple, successful ones. But hold on, this brings us right back to the core mystery. We just saw the baker trade her valuable, delicious bread for a completely useless shell. Why in the world would she ever agree to do that? And here it is, the big idea. The baker accepts the shell, not for what it is, but for what she believes she can do with it. She only takes it because she trusts, she believes, that the candlestick maker will also accept it from her. Money has value simply because we all agree that it has value. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, a kind of shared social agreement. So, this powerful collective belief, it gives money a very special property. You could almost call it an economic superpower. And that superpower has a name, liquidity. Now, that might sound complicated, but all it really means is how quickly and easily you can swap something you have for the stuff you actually want. Yeah, think about it like this. If you're just holding on to a commodity, like bread, your ability to trade is slow. You're stuck in the slow lane, waiting to find that one perfect person for a trade. But if you're holding money, you're in the express lane, because pretty much everyone is willing to accept it. Okay, but here's where this whole model gets really, really interesting. What if holding on to money is actually a bad financial move? What if there are other things you could hold, other assets, that would give you a better return on your investment? Well, the model shows something pretty remarkable. Even if money is what economists call dominated in rate of return, which is just a fancy way of saying it's a worse investment, people will still hold it and use it. And why? Because its incredible liquidity, its sheer usefulness for getting trades done fast, can actually be more valuable than the interest you're losing out on. As long as it's not a terrible investment, its convenience just wins out. Okay, so we've established that money speeds things up. It makes trading easier.
But does that actually make everyone better off at the end of the day? Does it improve the whole economy?
The model's answer is a pretty clear yes. By solving that whole double coincidence of wants problem and just letting more trades happen more often, a monetary economy can create a whole lot more overall well-being or welfare than a world stuck in pure barter.
But there's a catch. The model also shows that you can have too much of a good thing. If too many people are just holding on to money instead of producing and trading real goods, it can actually crowd out the productive parts of the economy, and overall welfare can actually go down. Money is a tool to help us trade real stuff. It's not the end goal itself.
So, when you really think about it, money isn't just an economic tool. It's one of humanity's most powerful technologies. But it's not built out of silicone or steel. It's built from something way more abstract, but just as strong, our shared collective belief. And that really makes you wonder, what else in our world works just like that?